that just makes my blood boil. That's just fucking unacceptable. So, Atosy was not playing by standard Weenie Hut Jr. rules, clearly. You've done the equivalent of going to the mall and shitting your pants and then trying to blame someone else for those shatted-in britches, other than just being an entertaining, silly little goofy goober for this lawsuit. Fuck, I can't speak out against this guy. He's ruling with an iron fist. I don't want to say anything less than tasteful. It might flare up his goddamn PTSD from being called a dirtbag on YouTube and he'll sue me. Shit. I know one of you watching this video right now is having a birthday. And to celebrate, I brought you a clown that we can all laugh at together and really make your special day that much better. So please allow me to introduce you to Bozo. His name is Bitboy Crypto. He's a YouTube crypto influencer who is currently suing another YouTuber named Atosy. Bitboy is seeking $75,000 due to defamation and emotional distress that he experienced when Atosy made a mean YouTube video about him, saying less than pleasant things. And I personally am mortified to learn that someone was being rude to another YouTuber. That just makes my blood boil. That's just fucking unacceptable. So this lawsuit is one that's really hitting close to home here. Atosy was not playing by standard Weenie Hut Jr. rules, clearly. He made a video talking about Bitboy's past with shady crypto and just a general history of sketchy shit, which made Bitboy upset enough to file a lawsuit against him for the video. Now, I'm not here to opine on whether or not Bitboy is a scammer or anything. I'm not here to make any claims against him or any allegations. I'm just here to make fun of him. So don't worry, Bitboy. Don't blow a gasket here. I'm not going to defame you. I'm just here to laugh at you. Every now and then, some pathetic, stinky worm decides it's a good idea to try and legally strong-arm a YouTuber they don't like with some lawsuit to scare them, or get money out of them, or get the video taken down, or something like that. And I always can't help but find it comical, because it never works out in their favor. This whole thing was about him being, upset and riddled with anxiety, worrying that Atosy's video ruined his reputation, even though Bitboy's lawsuit has done significantly more damage than Atosy could have ever done. Angrily filing a frivolous lawsuit on the internet is like publicly guillotining yourself. It's reputational suicide. I promise you, Atosy's video did negligible damage to your brand. However, you have just completely wiped your ass with it. You've done the equivalent of going to the mall and shitting your pants and then trying to blame someone else for those shatted-in britches. It's your fault now. So your reputation is trashed because of this lawsuit. The lawsuit is of course public, however I'm only going to be going through this article for the excerpts. I'm not going to bore you with the actual legal speak in there. So to break down the important bits, Armstrong, Bitboy, is claiming that his livelihood was attacked by Atosy by saying he's not someone you should be looking up to for any advice whatsoever and cannot be trusted with financial advice because you don't know whether he's trying to enrich you or himself. Maybe I'm biased here because I don't think anyone should be looking up to any YouTubers as their sole source of advice or information, but to me this doesn't seem like an attack on his livelihood at all. It just seems like a word of caution to anyone that finds his channel and takes it as the end-all be-all for financial advice or anything. It's just like a boilerplate, hey, you'd never really know someone's true intention, so just take it with a grain of salt. This doesn't seem like a malicious attempt by Atosy to fucking burn down Bitboy's empire. The article then makes a great point by highlighting a contradiction between what Bitboy's lawsuit says versus what he presents online. Bitboy's business model relies on his reputation and his status as an influencer. Side note, influencer is still to date the cringiest term ever made. That shit is vomit-inducing. That is such a yucky word. I.e., a well-known online personality who influences others' decisions, such as to buy or sell cryptocurrency as investments. The complaint reads, introducing as fact that he is an industry-leading source of reliable commentary with respect to investments in cryptocurrency. Further, the lawsuit asks, can there be a more damaging assertion for someone like Bitboy Crypto who engages in the business of providing advice and commentary on cryptocurrency investments? Basically summarizing that the lawsuit portrays Bitboy Crypto as an actual leading authority in the field of crypto investments and advice. However, it's a different song and dance when it comes to his online presence and what he himself identifies as. But on Bitboy's YouTube channel, he says his content is for general information purposes only and cautions, please be advised that I am not a professional advisor in business areas involving finance, cryptocurrency, taxation, securities and commodities, trading, or the practice of law. Nothing written or discussed is intended to be construed or relied upon as investment, financial, legal, regulatory, accounting, tax, or similar advice, nor should it be. You can see a big disconnect here. He's living a double life, a Jekyll and Hyde situation. In the lawsuit, Bitboy's described as like a leading expert in cryptocurrency advice and investment opportunities and shit like that. Fucking Giga Chad crypto god. So to say otherwise is blasphemous. You can't use the Lord's name in vain here, so it's super damaging to claim that he's not the, preeminent expert on crypto. But then you go to his YouTube channel and he's no longer this Sigma male. Now he's all shy. Oh, well, I guess I'm just making crypto content for general information purposes only. I am not an expert, so don't take my advice as the end-all be-all for crypto investment advice or information. So which is it? Is he a turbo barbarian, industry-leading authority on crypto news and investment advice, like the lawsuit claims? Or is he just another fucking crypto bro clickbait douchebag YouTuber? Even aside from the very different tone on what Bitboy's role actually is, whether he's a leading expert or not, it still is a completely baseless lawsuit because he has no leg to stand on. In the article, it even mentions that Armstrong has openly talked about some of the failures he's endorsed. Armstrong's lawsuit says the allegation is without any factual support. However, a CNBC story last week reported that Armstrong made over $100,000 a month promoting cryptocurrencies, including $30,000 alone for the failed DistX cryptocurrency. That's a practice he says he now regrets because it led to some painful losses for his own viewers, CNBC wrote. Armstrong also promoted other fly-by-night projects like Ethereum Yield, Cypherium, and MYX Network. When those projects failed, he deleted the videos from his channel. So what you're doing here is just highlighting even more so the awful shit you've done. Atosy made a general summation, like a history of the weird and sketchy, shady practices you've engaged in, which he's more than in his right to do. And you suing him to try and keep it under wraps and squeeze $75,000 out of him has shined an even brighter light on this kind of information. I would have never known that you've done these things. But since I and many others were laughing at you for this lawsuit, this information started to surface, which I imagine can't be great for business. The number one defense against defamation is the truth. And it's starting to look like that might be on Atosy's side here. Once again, I'm not here to toss around any allegations, I'm not here pointing the finger, accusing you of anything, other than just being an entertaining, silly little goofy goober for this lawsuit. The article finishes with one more excerpt from the lawsuit saying that Bitboy's emotional state is fragile, and he now suffers from severe anxiety that he will be perceived as a felon, a fraud, and untrustworthy in business or in general. The suit goes on to say that Bitboy now has recurring bouts of depression about whether defendants' defamatory statements will harm Armstrong financially and socially, and whether he'll be able to recover his good reputation in business as a result. You know what loses people's faith in you faster than just a random YouTube video? You making an absolute fucking fool of yourself by lashing out with a frivolous lawsuit. How do you expect your community to trust you going forward, even setting aside all of the scamming accusations? After this lawsuit, how do your viewers perceive you? Oh, fuck, I can't speak out against this guy. He's ruling with an iron fist. I don't want to say anything less than tasteful. It might flare up his goddamn PTSD from being called a dirtbag on YouTube and he'll sue me. Shit. Oh, man, Bitboy's really off the hinges now. Like, you lose faith and trust in your community because of this lawsuit, not because of his video. The people that watched Atosy's video aren't watching you, Bitboy. The people watching you are either geriatric or too fucking stupid to even find Atosy's channel in the first place. So you weren't losing money. You weren't suffering damages financially. Which is why you're not claiming like actual damages or losses, because it's fucking crypto and you can't prove it. So you're just claiming emotional distress, saying that you need $75,000 to wipe your tears with in order to feel better about one guy calling you a dirtbag. It's absolutely pathetic, and it's a super see-through attempt to try and strong-arm someone who's probably unfamiliar with the law and try and scare them. It's sickening. It's just a blatant attempt to try and bully a guy who called you out on YouTube. It's fucking sad. trying to state things like anxiety and depression from what? Him just talking about you? Like mentioning your history and giving his opinion on your practices? It makes no sense, and I think it's very wrong. And now you look real stupid. Like you just seem like a completely insecure, untrustworthy asshole. And that has nothing to do with any of your crypto shit. I don't know anything about that, aside from what I just read in this article. So again, I'm not calling you a scammer. Don't even try and throw the word defame around here, Bitboy, when you watch this. I'm just talking about you as a person, your character. It's trash. This is dumb. And I can't stand it when people like Bitboy do this kind of shit, where they try and sue someone over absolute nonsense. So anyway, I just wanted to talk about this a little bit because it happens every now and then and it always gets me a little fired up. So I wanted to at least bring it up. That's about it. See ya. Did you see someone exposing Bitboy's scam while he was on stage and him having a meltdown? I totally forgot about that. Yes, I did. Hold on, let me pull that up. That was so shameful. Bitboy, you'll remember, is the douchebag on YouTube who's the crypto bro who peddles garbage. Like, he's just a prolific, untrustworthy person in the crypto space. A YouTuber named Atosy called him out in a video talking about the shit that he's done, calling him a dirtbag. Bitboy got his feelings all hurt, so he tried suing Atosy for 75 grand or something. And he ended up getting laughed off the internet, so he retracted the lawsuit. But he still makes content. And recently, at his, I don't even know what this is. I guess the Bitboy Con, I don't know, convention to celebrate Bitboy's clownery. A woman went on stage. A woman went on stage and confronted him about it. And he doesn't hold it together very well.
No one needs. Where's the evidence? Let's hear it. Where's the evidence? Where's the evidence? Give the evidence. Don't give the evidence. This is your moment.
This is... So what's happening is here. What's happening? She came up and was like, man, fuck you. You're a fraud. Your shit's bad. You're stinky. Boo. Boo, Bitboy, boo. And he's like, oh, you think I'm a fraud? Well, where's your evidence? Pull up your evidence. She's like, bet. So she goes to Zach XBT, who made a huge thread not too long ago, it was back in January, that pointed out so much of Bitboy's garbage. Like poking holes in everything Bitboy has pretty much ever done, really. It's such a thorough beatdown of his whole career. And she brings it up here, and Bitboy's not super happy. He continues to invite it, challenging her.
So guys, we can just go and check all the evidence posted by Zach XP.
A thread from a year ago.
It doesn't matter whether it's a year ago.
It doesn't matter at all. His defense was, oh, it's old, that's a year old. So you were scamming a year ago then. Like, it doesn't change anything. All of the information is still accurate, even if it's a year old. You still did this. It doesn't really change it, so it's a bad defense. Bitboy's sweating, getting a little swamp-assy, and then it gets real rough.
When you do
Please
this...
go and check all the evidence.
Oh, okay, so... You're a child molester. You're a child molester. You're a child molester.
Okay, can you let me complete now?
No, I don't have to back up with evidence. It's just something that I said.
You know what?
This woman is a child molester. She's a murderer. She's a murderer.
Look at you, you're shaking. You know when people shake.
Yikes. So his defense, after she brings up the Zach XBT thread, his response is, you're a child molester, murderer, murderer. Like, he just had this biblical meltdown in his mind. He could no longer even pretend to not be offended, bothered, and he had no rebuttal, so he defaulted to child molester and murderer. It's so goofy.
Those are psychological evidences. We know when you're wrong, you shake.
Baseless accusations. Pretty big Bitboy L today. But if you go to his Twitter, he's still a man. You know, he still thinks pretty highly of himself. He's still, you know, he's not disappointed in the man he sees in the mirror. He still talks a big game. So, like, here's him from only, what is this, 2 hours ago? 3 hours ago. Too big to care at the gym, baby. Yeah, getting swole out here. Might call a woman a child molester. Thinking about it. Bitch boy. Yep, after the Atosy drama, everyone started calling him Bitboy Crypto, which I think is a great nickname. He did address the drama, kind of. In one of his shows, he took like 5 seconds to say, just like snot-nosed YouTuber that I was suing, but it's not worth my time. Lawsuit's done. He made it sound like he was the good guy, and he's like, I just decided it's not even worth it. That was the only acknowledgement of the case that he ever did. Bro's pushing 50 and called Bitboy. I know. Like, if he wasn't such an asshole, I would actually find all of this adorable. Like, he's very clear. Like, I've listened to him. I watched Atosy's video, so I did a little dive on him. He's very clearly not knowledgeable on this space at all. I pulled this up on stream. I don't know if I'll be able to find it now because it's been a couple months. Someone did a breakdown of all of the things that he told people to invest in, all the crypto moonshots he told people to put their money in, and someone tallied up all of them for like 7 months. And on every single one of them, they were either rug pulls or you lost 60 to 90% of your money. Only 2 of them had any returns, and those returns were like 2 to 3% returns. 2 out of like 90 recommendations. Like, he's just fucking terrible at everything he does. Even if he's not blatantly scamming, he is still giving the worst advice in the space. You know, fuck it. I'm going to try and find that thread again because it was so good. Oh, here it is. It's the first thing that came up. This isn't the original thread, but it looks like they still circulate this around. This was the information. It's just this isn't the original thread. This is someone just responding to him with it. But the person who compiled this went through all of his like recommendation crypto moonshots, and these were the returns. So they went to the video, and then they went to where it is now to see what you will have made. And only 2 of them were green. The whole market was down. Is that why? I mean, that even still, like, it's all of them except for like, I guess, Ripple were just fucking crazy moonshots or just like blatant scams that he was peddling. This isn't all of it. This is just one of the screenshots. But no, it's not just the market being down. If you'd like to see Bitboy in all of his douchey glory, there's actually another angle of this train wreck, so I'll go ahead and play that for you, but just the end here because the audio quality is also a little clearer.
You do
Please
this.
go and check all the evidence.
Oh, okay,
That's
so
right
you're a
here.
child
That
molester.
is
You're a child molester. You're a child molester.
Okay. Can you let me complete now?
No, I don't have to. I don't have to back it up with
Then
evidence.
why?
It's just something that I said.
You know
This
what?
woman is
The
a child
due
molester.
diligence,
She is
that's
a
right,
murderer.
Bitboy.
She's a
The due-
murderer.
Look at you. You're shaking. You know when people shake? Those are psychological evidences. You know when you're wrong.
No, it's because I'm angry at baseless accusations.
Watching Bitboy Crypto is a lot like watching your drunk uncle embarrass themselves on Thanksgiving every year, but somehow Bitboy has an audience that must hate money, because by following his advice, they're just perpetually flushing all of their cash down the toilet. And speaking of flushing things down the toilet, Bitboy has once again ruined his reputation to anyone that's not in his cult-like following. What he was trying to do here is call her names like child molester and murderer as an attempt to say, oh look, you can slap labels on anyone without proof. But it doesn't really work because she did bring proof and evidence to suggest that you have had a history of shilling scams, which you have. That's not defamatory, that's not slanderous, that is a provable fact. You have shilled projects that have turned out to be scams. Now, I want to quickly show the thread that she was referencing, the Zach XBT thread, because it's actually a very insightful thread into the character of Bitboy and how he does business. So if you're interested, you can look that up and take a bit of a dive on the history of Bitboy. Zach XBT was also the one responsible for tracking the return on investment from Bitboy's suggestions, and he even clarified that he did the year-to-date calculations pre-market crash. So all of this was without the market being in the shitter. Pretty impressive resume from Bitboy here. It looks like 1 out of every 1,000 projects he shills might give you a 5% return at best and a 92% loss at worst. Great odds. What a remarkable joke. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about him a little bit because I thought it was a very silly video, and that's about it. See ya. There's a particular clown I've made a couple videos on over the years because he can't help but embarrass himself sometimes. And in the crypto community, he's looked at in the same way a fart is, where it's something that just makes you laugh because it's a little silly and a little stinky. His name is Bitboy Crypto. I'm not here to just give you a recap and go over his resume. There's plenty of content that goes over all of the shady things he's done over the years. Instead, I want to focus on the modern day, present day, 2023 AD, where once again Bitboy Crypto couldn't help but make a fool of himself. He just broadcast an unhinged live stream here on YouTube that frightened more people than the original run of the Blair Witch Project. He was streaming himself outside of an individual's house that he was having beef with and accused him of stealing his Lamborghini. So he was there to confront him directly and had a weapon in his car as well. So the whole situation was dangerous. The things he was saying was alarming, and eventually officers do arrive there, but then there's another plot twist that's revealed at the end that nobody, not even God himself, would have seen coming. This whole stream played out like a mission in Grand Theft Auto 5. So I'm going to show you some clips from it. For the first clip here, I'm not going to show you any of the video footage because he just reveals where this guy lives. So I don't want to show any of that, but I want you to hear the audio because I think it's important.
Carlos has my Lamborghini right here in his garage. So today, guys, I'm going to be live streaming and I'm going to be telling the entire story.
Now, it's important to give even further context to what led to this situation. He's there because he believes this man stole his Lamborghini, and he's going to spill the beans, let the cat out of the bag here, and talk in depth about this individual as well as his association with this deep cast of characters and different things. And it's a lot of very eyebrow-raising, alarming accusations he makes against them with things he's said he's done or things that he's capable of doing. And from everything I've read from the community, as well as everything I've read up on in the Bitboy cinematic universe leading up to this situation, no one knows if any of these accusations are truthful. However, even if everything he says here is beyond a shadow of a doubt the truth, Bitboy Crypto is fluent in facts, all of this is legitimate, everyone can agree that he handled it in the worst way possible. This is not how you should have handled this situation at all. It should have gone to authorities, have it go through court. Instead, Ben, his name is Ben, rolls out here like he's fucking Batman. He's rolling out here like he's the spirit of vengeance, scooting in sideways with his truck and a weapon in his truck, just in case shit gets hairy. Like, that is not optimal at all. And then streaming the whole thing on YouTube, turning it into a fucking spectacle, is bafflingly unhinged.
Hey, how's it going? Yep.
Hey, stop.
How's it going?
Stop.
Oh, stop. I couldn't hear.
You have a weapon on you.
No, I do not.
Okay.
I do not.
So.
I have one in my vehicle, but I do not have a weapon on me.
Okay.
Now, this is when the cops arrive into the equation. They confront Ben saying, "Hey, bub, what's going on here, Buster, huh? What's all the commotion?" And this is when a very intriguing narrative starts to unwind.
Okay.
Do me a favor. Take out your whatever.
I'm sorry. I reached too fast. I'm sorry. Sorry. Okay.
Put your phone down.
Okay.
Put the phone down.
Okay. I'll put the phone down. Okay.
Put the phone.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Put the phone down.
Put the fanny pack down.
Okay.
Him putting that phone down was harder than getting a child to eat their vegetables. He did not want to put that phone down because for him, it seems like he's fully content-brained, and all of this is great for the stream. So he really didn't want to put that phone down, but eventually he plays ball. But he makes sure to put it down in a way that it still captures him and all of the glory that's happening here. Which is so fucking weird why he wouldn't just turn the stream off here. He is proudly filming his most embarrassing moment in this dimension. He is going to the Doofus Club to receive high accommodation, and he's doing it with a smile on his face.
What's going on?
What's going on? This man inside of this house.
Actually, he's gonna check you real quick.
Absolutely.
Just the weapons.
I'm sorry. I have a. Okay. Yep. No weapons. No
Where in
weapons.
the car is your gun?
It's in the back seat.
Back seat?
Yep.
Is anybody else in the car?
I feel like I should mention that this wasn't something that caught him off guard. He even said earlier in the stream that he'd like the cops to show up. He knew that this was a very likely situation where cops would arrive at the scene, and he welcomed it with open arms. But now that they're here, it's not exactly seeming like he's all that happy to see them. And the officer just asked him a very important question. Is there anyone else in the car? And boy howdy, you're not ready for what comes next. I don't care how much you've studied the periodic table, you are not prepared for this element of surprise.
Yes,
Who's in the car? Who?
What's that?
Who's in your car?
Who's in my car?
Yes.
Okay. Let's,
Who's in your car?
who's in my car?
Who's in your truck, sir?
Cassie is in my car. Cassie's in my
All
truck.
right, Cassie.
Cassie's in my truck. My wife knows that we're here, by the way. She knows we came to do this. But my wife is aware. So we're live on YouTube right now.
Okay.
We got about 2,500 people watching. So Cassie's a girl I had an affair with. She's involved in this situation with me and this guy here.
My jaw was on the floor. I actually felt like I was watching some kind of early 2000s, like Young and the Restless, some kind of soap opera. Like, you couldn't have scripted that any more dramatic. Like, he starts taking those pauses, like, who's in my car? Sweat pouring down his face, maybe like a close-up zoom in. Well, let's, who's, in my car? That car. Yeah, who's in my... And then eventually, he finally spits it out. Fucking Bitboy Crypto here finally lets the officer know who's in the vehicle after he asked the question. The officer had to pull teeth to get there, but he finally states that the woman in the car is the woman he's cheating on his wife with. And then immediately, like, he knows Stream is watching because he made sure of it. He, for some reason, didn't anticipate that the officers would look at his car and realize there's another human being there. So I guess it just never even registered in his smooth brain that the officers were going to find out that the woman he's having an affair with is at the scene. Unless she activated some kind of active camouflage out of Halo or some shit, some kind of forbidden, ninjutsu to disguise herself, like they were going to find her. And for some reason, he kept the stream on, even knowing that was going to happen. So he immediately starts talking to Stream, and not even the officers really, like, but my wife knows that Cassie and I are here. I had an affair with Cassie, but my wife knows we're here. We had actually just come from my daughter's tennis match. She knows we're over here doing this. It's not exactly scummy or slimy because my wife knows that the woman I'm cheating on her with is here with me at the scene with this guy that I'm having this problem with.
In the situation with me and this guy here, my wife knows. We were just at my daughter's tennis match. Cassie and I have came over here because this man is extorting me. He's death threatening me. He stole my Lamborghini. My Lamborghini is in his garage right now.
The officer just did the kindest thing anyone's ever done for Bitboy Crypto in his whole life. He turned the show off. He takes his phone, turns it face down, so that people can no longer see all the action and all of that. Now, he doesn't turn the stream off, maybe he didn't know how, but he puts the phone face down and he leads Bitboy Crypto away from it so you can't really hear him very well and you can't see anything anymore. So he just made it private, which is what this whole thing should have been in the first place. If all of these accusations are true and all of that, it should have been handled privately and instead of turning it into a live stream and escalating to a point where you're bringing a fucking weapon to this guy's house. Now, the stream continues for about 18 minutes after this, but it's all just the void. So you can't see anything anymore. Eventually the stream ends. Now, the stream lasted just shy of 40 minutes, and throughout the entirety of it, he is speaking very rushed. He's very out of breath. Sometimes it really feels like he may be under the influence of something. Of course, I'm not there with a fucking toxicology report. I'm just giving it the old eyeball test. He's just speaking in a way that feels like he's not in his right mind. He's not in a healthy headspace. And most of the community is attributing a lot of this to the really rough month Bitboy Crypto has had. I mentioned that I was reading up on the Bitboy Crypto cinematic universe. Well, that's a novel longer than Homer's Odyssey. It has so much that has happened in Ben's life over the last month that it has been an incredibly long read on getting caught up with the lore. But basically, he's had his whole life turned on its ass. It's in a position now where he feels he has been the victim of a scam, which a lot of people in the community felt was incredibly ironic and actually a gut-bustingly great joke because for a long time, Bitboy Crypto has actually had a reputation for being looked at as a scammer himself in the eyes of some people, with many feeling as though they've been victims of scams that he has run, allegedly. So when that information came out, the floodgates really started to open. A lot happened with his company, and he eventually was saying like he didn't even have $20 to fill up his tank of gas, and then was like asking the community for donations. It was a mess. But a lot of that has been going on over the last month, and then it led up to this. So there is speculation that perhaps this is his breaking point. This is him having a meltdown, a breakdown that he is streaming now. And I think that's probably accurate. This whole situation here doesn't exactly come from a thought process that's thinking rationally. Now, Ben did get arrested at the scene, but you can't put Big Ben in the pin for long. He spent about 8 hours in the slammer, according to his tweet this morning. He was charged with loitering, I guess, and he immediately took to Twitter to let the world know, you don't tussle with the muscle. According to Bitboy Crypto, he's been on steroids, and if that's the case, if that's true, I don't know where his muscles are. He must have minted those on the blockchain. Seems kind of a waste to be on steroids without actually working out. I also watched an interview where someone who has worked closely with Ben has accused him of suffering from roid rage, and I've seen a few people start to say that that's what this stream was, the product of a roid rage incident. I don't think that's the case, and I don't know how true the claim is that he has roid rage blow-ups from time to time, but I thought it was at least worth mentioning as, you know, a maybe that had something to do with this, but personally, I don't think it did. He also did make a lot of other tweets this morning. One of them really just makes it feel like we're stuck in a fucking reality TV show with him now, where he's talking about Cassie, the woman that he's cheating on his wife with. He comes out screaming that he's not getting rid of Cassie, saying that his friends and family have lied, manipulated him, they want to break them up, but he's never getting rid of her, never. And then says, me, my wife, and Cassie are trying to figure this out. We're all grown adults capable of making our own decisions, and we don't need any of you to help us with that decision. So please butt out of my personal life as it relates to my relationships. He's right, it is a personal relationship, and it should be a private matter, but with Bitboy Crypto, there's no such thing as privacy. That word, doesn't exist. He, for a long time, has shared so much about himself and his life online, publicly, for a long time. So, obviously, people know a lot about his situation because he kind of shares a lot of it. He may be a goofball, but he is correct about something here, that they are all adults and they can make their own decisions. That is true. But if I may chime in with a little unsolicited advice to his wife, don't stay with a man who's going to cheat on you. Why be faithful to a man who's not going to be faithful to you? If this was a polyamorous relationship and it was agreed upon in this marriage where they could see other people, that'd be one thing, that'd be fine, you'd be on the same page. But from everything that's been put out there, it was not a poly relationship. This was an extracurricular activity happening outside of the marriage. So if you want to try and work through it together, that's your right, that's totally fine, it's what you want to do. But just know, he has very much drawn a line in the sand. No matter what happens, come hell or high water, Cassie will be there. So basically you're now making a decision moving forward on whether you want to stay with Bitboy Crypto and also marry his mistress, because he's made it clear, she's not going anywhere. She's tagging along forever in this WWE match we call life. So again, they're adults, they can make their own decision with what they want to do with this. This is a private matter that, for some reason, Bitboy just keeps taking publicly. But anyway, just a wildly dangerous and bafflingly unhinged situation here with this stream, and that's really about it. Just wanted to give you the update on the Bitboy Crypto saga here. That's it. See ya.